What's up, my comic comrades? There are several dope characters being introduced into the live-action DC Cinematic Universe in Black Adam. And one we're pretty excited about is Carter Hall, aka Hawkman. He looks amazing in the footage we've gotten so far, and we can't wait to see actor Aldis Hodge bring him to life on the big screen. In the meantime, we're going to dive into Hawkman's comic book history to give you a deeper understanding of the character, and so we can see how he compares to the live-action version when the movie drops. A lot of you have been asking if October is still Villains Month here on Variant, and the answer is yes. It's a bit revised to include the characters in Black Adam, but we will have plenty of special Villains Month content throughout the month. In fact, for the month of October, we've partnered with today's sponsor, Jazz Ink Dioramas, to give away one of their insanely detailed 1/6 scale 1966 Batmobiles. This is a highly detailed grail piece, so you want to stick around because we're going to tell you how you could win one for yourself. But first, let's dive into Hawkman's origins. Hawkman first appeared in Flash Comics issue 1 in January of 1940. He was created by Gardner Fox and Dennis Neville. Hawkman is most commonly known as the human archaeologist named Carter Hall, who was the modern-day reincarnation of ancient Egyptian prince Khufu, but also as a police officer from the planet Thanagar named Carter Hall. Basically, the character is commonly known within the comic continuity to have one of the most confusing origins and backstories in all of comics. This is due to the numerous revamps and retellings of his origin, specifically after 1985's Crisis on Infinite Earths. A lot of writers try to fix this by integrating the Carter Hall and Thanagarian Carter Hall into one story, but I feel like that only made things more confusing. In any case, let's continue talking about this in Origins. Now, like I just said a second ago, Hawkman has had numerous different origins over the years, starting in the 1940s Flash Comics issue 1, which was later expanded upon in 1961's The Brave and the Bold issue 34. We didn't get another retelling until 1989's Hawkworld issue 1, and then another breakdown of his origin in 2002's Hawkman's Secret Files and Origins issue 1, and also in 2012's New 52 Savage Hawkman issue 0. And there may be even more than that, but we only have so much time. The point is, his origin has been revisited a lot, and because of that, it's super confusing, especially since they started incorporating reincarnation into his origin. So for the sake of simplicity, we will go through his original origin from Flash Comics issue 1, and then his more modernized origin given to us in Hawkman Secret Files and Origins issue 1 from 2002. In Hawkman's original 1940s origin given to us in Flash Comics 1, we find out that wealthy collector of weapons and research scientist Carter Hall was a reincarnation of an ancient Egyptian prince named Khufu. He would discover a metal called Ninth Metal, which defies the laws of gravity, giving him the ability to fly. After discovering Ninth Metal, he decided to fight crime with his newfound ability, at which point he created a costume that had big wings to help him fly through the air. And being that Hall was an archaeologist and fascinated with history in his everyday life, he decided to use medieval weapons in his fight against evil. Essentially, his original origin was short, simple, and to the point. But now let's run down his origin as given to us in Hawkman Secret Files and Origins issue 1. And I'm basically going to run through it verbatim as DC did a nice summary of his origin on a data page within this issue. It states that Hawkman has lived 1,000 lives, and in each one he waged a battle against evil. His soul began its journey in ancient Egypt as Prince Khufu of the 15th dynasty. Too early in their lives, Khufu and his great love, Shayara, were murdered by a sorcerer named Hath-Set. Due to his exposure to a strange golden element that turned out to be Thanagarian Ninth Metal, which he discovered in the wreckage of an alien spacecraft, Khufu and Shayara were reincarnated again and again, each time unaware of their previous lives. In the 1940s, Khufu lived as Carter Hall. It was here that he first adopted the guise of Hawkman, a founding member of the legendary Justice Society of America. This career continued for decades until he and his partner Hawkgirl, a reborn Shayara, were swept up in a temporal anomaly and seemingly vanished from existence. Carter's soul answered to a higher calling, and he freed himself from the anomaly, reclaiming his heroic identity as Hawkman. He now possesses the memories of all his previous incarnations. It goes on to say Hawkman utilizes Nith Metal as a component of his wings and boots, which enable him to fly at terrific speeds and with great agility. The metal also allows its user to lift incredible weights and to withstand temperature extremes. The Nith Metal has several other properties that Carter Hall has yet to tap into. Carter Hall is striving to balance his innate warrior's anger with the princely wisdom of his ancient beginnings. He's blinded by his love of Kendra Saunders, the most recent incarnation of his beloved Shayara, and will soon learn the consequences of this blindness. And there you have it, Hawkman's origin simplified and summarized by DC themselves. But before we move on to story arcs, how about that 1966 Batmobile by Jazz Ink? For those of you who have never heard of Jazz Ink before, you don't know what you're missing. We actually first introduced them to the Variant audience a few years back, and then just recently they created and sent over this amazing 1/12 scale BVS Batmobile, which they have for sale on their website and we have on display here in the studio. But now they've created this incredible, officially licensed, limited edition 1/6 scale 1966 Batmobile collectible piece for the Batman and Robin TV series. And they've been gracious enough to partner with us to give one of these bad boys away to one of you lucky people. Jazz Inc. worked alongside members of its community and experts to make this Batmobile the most accurate 66 Batmobile available. They spent a ton of time perfecting even the smallest details, making this a one-of-a-kind collectible. The base standard version of the 66 Batmobile Jazz Inc. offered has already sold out, but there are a few of the DX version left for pre-order. The DX version includes the removable front batarang ram, the removable magnetic rear flame, the carpeting, and a remote that allows you to control the different lights that blink in the exact patterns as seen in the TV show. Did I mention that the trunk opens to reveal the mobile crime computer? Come on, that's just perfection. Although the Batman and Robin figures are not included, but as you can see, the 1/6 scale figures fit perfectly. Anyway, as promised, we are running a giveaway throughout the month of October to give one of these 66 Batmobiles away. Today through October 25th, just follow Variant and Jazz Inc. on Instagram, then comment on the giveaway post on the Variant Instagram and tag 3 friends. Finally, on October 30th, we'll announce the winner here on the show. But whether you win or not, you could add one of these to your collection by heading over to jazzincdioramas.com to check it out and pre-order yours now. Because once it's gone, it's gone. Good luck. Now, there have been a lot of Hawkman stories over the years, so the easiest way to do this is to tell you some of our favorite and/or some of the most influential. And first up on the list is Hawkworld Volume 1, the original 3-issue miniseries. So we just went over the 2002 Hawkman origin, but in Hawkworld, the original 3-issue miniseries, it gave us a post-crisis reboot of Hawkman's origin and mythos. The series reimagined Hawkman as a police officer on the world Thanagar named Cotter Hall, which is obviously a spin-off of the name Carter Hall. In any case, he becomes one of many who wear a hawk mask and fly around with wings as police. But after joining the police force, he's eventually betrayed and disgraced, which ultimately leads him to find his one true purpose as Hawkman. It's definitely one of the simpler entryways to the character and was so successful, a year later, the series became an ongoing series in Hawkworld Volume 2. The ongoing Hawkworld series lasted 32 issues and 3 annuals, and as you would assume, it picks up the tale of the Thanagarian police officer Cotter Hall. In the series, the evil Bite has fled Thanagar for Earth, but fret not because Hawkman and Hawkgirl are trailing close behind. So as you would assume, this leads to some pretty good comic fun. I feel like this is a highly underrated Hawkman series. The 3-issue miniseries that sparked this gets most of the spotlight, but this series is good as well, especially the first 6 issues. Then in the year 2000, we would get the Legend of the Hawkman 3-issue miniseries. In the series, we see Hawkman and Hawkgirl take cover identities at the Midway City Museum. While at the museum, they overhear of a Thanagarian gateway found in a cliffside by a group of archaeologists in Tibet. So of course, the two Hawks, as I'm going to call them, visit said gateway to decipher the writing on it, which talks about a Thanagarian child named Thassaro. This child is said to be so evil that he even threatened Thanagar's ancient gods and was banished into an unbreakable mystic urn that is now kept inside the gateway. But what do you know? Cotter opens up the urn and the kid is released from his prison, at which point he attacks Hawkman and Hawkgirl. But he is restrained and put back in his urn by Hawkgirl after she gets a pep talk from an ancient hall. At this point, the urn is now put in the Midway City Museum so the Hawks can personally watch over the urn. In issue 2, we find out that everything isn't hunky-dory because that night, mummies in the museum start coming to life and attacking people. Cotter thinks this is because of the presence of Thassaro and wants to get rid of the urn. Long story short, in issue 3 on Thanagar, which is where they ultimately end up, the Trinity, and no, not Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, instead 3 massive humanoid hawk gods cryptically tell Hawkman that he could only stop Thassaro by having faith in Shiera and their love. So he does this, and together they're able to subdue him long enough for the Trinity to imprison him once again. Another great story is the return of Hawkman from JSA issues 22 through 25, written by Jeff Johns and David S. Goyer. Not only did Jeff Johns bring the JSA back in epic fashion for the modern day, he also gave us the return of Hawkman. He connected his Golden Age lineage to this modern day era of the JSA in this 3-issue Return of Hawkman arc. It's a must-read for anyone looking to get into Hawkman, plus Jeff Johns' JSA is all around great. Other iconic storylines include Hawkman Volume 4 issue 27 and The Blackbird, written by the one and only Ed Brubaker. It's a super quick read as it's only 1 issue, but essential nonetheless. You also have The Shadow War of Hawkman, which is a nice 4-issue miniseries, where deadly beings come out of the shadows and are looking for the secrets of Thanagarian science. Then there's The Death of Hawkman, a great 6-issue series where Adam Strange and Hawkman team up as they try anything possible to avert war. Ultimately, there's no shortage of good Hawkman stories, and we'll give you more recommendations later on. But with that said, let's move on to powers and abilities. Hawkman is most known for his Nth metal, which gives him the ability to fly, and it's controlled mentally. The metal is infused inside of his blood, and Hawkman himself doesn't even know if he can die because the ability the metal gives him. The metal also gives him enhanced strength. Nothing crazy like Superman or Black Adam, but still incredibly strong nonetheless. Hawkman is a brute force type character, and the weapons he uses only further that point as he uses melee medieval weapons such as his iconic mace. But even spears, nets, and shields are found in his armory. But there is one enhanced, definitely not medieval weapon that Hawkman uses, and that would be the Claw of Horus. Horus. The claw was created by Naboo the Wise and was used to return the first Flash Jay Garrick back to the present. But the kicker is the claw draws its power from the magnetic core of the Earth. We find this out in Superman Batman issue 4 by Jeff Loeb, Ed McGuinness, and Dexter Vines. In the issue, Hawkman and Superman are fighting, and Superman is dragging Hawkman into space saying, "I wish it didn't have to be like this. Luthor has turned friends against friends. Before you black out, I want you to understand." But Hawkman replies, "Superman, you arrogant fool," and then punches him back down to Earth saying, "Now before you black out, my glove. It's called the Claw of Horus. It draws its power from the magnetic core of the Earth. Essentially, I just hit you with the planet." So Hawkman has a weapon in his arsenal that gives him the ability to hit people with the force of a planet, something that knocked Superman out and gave him a bloody nose. Hawkman also has an amazing healing factor due to Ninth Metal. He's able to carry around 5 tons, and he's survived hits from powerhouses like Black Adam. His senses are also enhanced, like his sight being able to see miles away, and enhanced hearing. And obviously he has giant wings, which were given to him on Thanagar. They're artificial wings that the planet's policemen use to get around. All in all, Hawkman is extremely strong, can fly, is a brute, has an insane healing factor, and is able to hit people with the force of planets. Man, I can't wait to see him in Black Adam. For reading recommendations, check out Hawkworld Volume 1, Hawkworld Volume 2, The Return of Hawkman and JSA issues 22 through 25, the New 52 Savage Hawkman, and Jeff Johns' Hawkman run. Then there's The Death of Hawkman, The Shadow War of Hawkman, and The Legend of the Hawkman. And when you're done, let us know which is your favorite in the comments. And that's going to bring today's episode to a close, but if you enjoyed this video, check out this one right here, and if you like all of our content, like, subscribe, and comment. It helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you next time when I talk about all things comics.